If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new songs in the description. Roddy Ricch just announced a new album. This is pretty exciting. We were waiting on this for a very long time. We got to go over this. Feat the Streets 3. Let's go over the announcement. Let's go over his place in hip-hop right now and also the singles he's dropped so far for this because they're not too promising. I gotta admit, I don't like the two singles, but let's break this down. Let's see what happened and let's get straight into this. So Roddy Ricch is still riding low on the release of his latest album, Live Life Fast, at the end of 2021. It just didn't really perform up to the expectations that people had. He himself was treating it like he was a new Kendrick, like he was just the new, GOAT of hip-hop, carrying this new generation, whatever. And then he just came through with a subpar album after that, and it just kind of destroyed his credibility. And people were like, okay, I thought he was greater than this. I thought that he wouldn't just do an album that is boring. But Live Life Fast was really not that great. Since then, he's dropped the EP, the Big 3 EP, I think it was, which was alright. It kind of picked back up. But also the tracks were still so generic, and it feels like he just doesn't know what he has to talk about anymore. Like, a lot of the stuff that he's talking about is just the money, is just the fame, is just the women. And back in the day, it was still like some real stuff. Like, he was talking about growing up and the struggles he had, and that's what made him so relatable, and that's what brought him the success that he did. Tracks like Down Below, for example, Project Dreams, like stuff like that is so classic, like Roddy Ricch stuff, that we just kind of went off of that. It wasn't the direction that he was going in anymore. But even at the end of 2021, after Live Life Fast dropped, he kind of took the criticism and he said that Feat the Streets 3 is coming in 2022, which obviously it now is, which is pretty exciting. I'm like very hyped for that. And this is where we gotta kind of connect it to, since the announcement, since the last EP that he dropped 2 singles. The first one was Stop Breathing, which many people thought was actually pretty good. It was like him picking up in the right direction again. It was okay for me. I don't mind it. It's not like a great single, but it's also not bad. It's just kind of there. I don't like that it's like sub 2 minutes in length. And I also don't like that if this is the one that he's coming back with, and he's also just talking about the same stuff that he was talking about on the album that people didn't like. Oh, I just hit my water bottle. Speaking of it, make sure to stay hydrated. Very important. But let's continue with Roddy Ricch. So just talking about the same stuff that he talked on the album about, I don't know how he thought that would work. So Stop Breathing was there. It was alright. It got some media attention. He also had the one with G Herbo and Doughboy, I think it was, Ghetto Superstars, I think it was called, which didn't get a lot of attention. Not a lot of people talked about this. Also mainly because it wasn't like a solo single, so it wasn't him just doing his own thing. But that dropped as well. Not a lot of people talked about that. But then there's a new one that he dropped, I think only yesterday or like 2 days ago, like on Friday. So I think that was 2 days ago. It's called Aston Martin Truck. This one is actually a little bit better. It also got a video, which I think is actually pretty good. Now, it's also not like the legendary Roddy Ricch that we kind of came to know of, like Feat the Streets 2, and then also Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial. It's not like the same one, but he's alright on this one. I actually don't mind it. It's okay. The hook is actually pretty alright. It hits pretty hard. But he's still talking about the same stuff. It doesn't feel like the genuine Roddy Ricch that we fell in love with, like 2018, 2019, like back in those days, 2017 even before that. So that's like, I still remember tracks like Every Season. Like, that was dope. Also, he did the one for X, Die Young. That was also amazing. Like, where is that Roddy Ricch? Now it's just, I'm famous, I got money, and I got a new Aston Martin truck. So I don't know what that is. But he just announced a new album, Feat the Streets 3. Maybe this one will be better. Let's look at the announcement. So he posted this on Instagram. He said, Feat the Streets 3, November 18th, my gift to you. So he's dropping on November 18th. Pretty smart move because Metro Boomin is dropping on the 11th, so he's not like getting into any friction right there because he's still a pretty big player in hip-hop. We're going to go into the cover in a second because I think it looks really cool, but we can also kind of look at the people that commented. We had Lil Baby comment, we had Mozzie comment, we had Simba comment, Doughboy comment, we had G Herbo comment, so those people are likely going to be on the album. G Herbo, for example, already being on the Ghetto Superstar single, so that one is pretty clear, but I'm talking about the people that still commented. Lil Baby, for example, pretty exciting. Lil Baby kind of saved the Live Life Fast record with his verse on Move to Miami, even though why the F did Roddy put a fucking 20-minute intro before Lil Baby's verse? Like, I skipped that stuff. Like, I just go straight to Lil Baby's verse. I don't know. That's likely the people that are going to be featured on here. And it's, it's cool. Feed the Streets 3, dropping November 18th. You know, if this was announced a year ago, today a year ago, I would be like, yo, this is crazy. Roddy about to save hip-hop. But after you drop Live Life Fast, I can't really, like, get into that same mode anymore, because it's just, he's kind of been, like, this is how I see it. Ever since Live Life Fast dropped, he's just trying to stay afloat. Like, he's just trying to drop singles to keep his name in the conversation until he can drop something again that can prove that he's still great. But it's not like he's delivering great stuff. It's not like this is self-sufficient. You know, he's just trying to prove to people, I'm staying above water. I'm kind of like making it. But it's not really, it's not really doing anything legendary. Let's go to the cover art, because this one actually looks pretty cool. It's him sitting at a table with a couple of his guys, and he's literally feeding the streets. This looks like a very long, like, fancy mansion house table, a bunch of food on the plates, so they eating good. Might also be, let me know, the 18th, might that be, that's not Thanksgiving, right? If it is Thanksgiving, maybe that's also in combination. I don't know. I don't know if that's actually what he was going for, but I'm just thinking, like, is that like 18th? That's not 3 weeks into November. Anyway, the cover looks pretty cool. It makes me excited for the album. Maybe he's got something that he's going to blow us all away with, that he's going to be like, okay, this one is actually the one that I was working on. This is the grand opium of me. Like, this is the one that y'all can see I prove that I'm still the old Roddy that can deliver these great, amazing, legendary tracks, and that kind of was considered in the conversation of, up there with, like, maybe Corday, with maybe Jid, being the ones that carry this new generation, that are like, the ones that kind of take the torch from J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar into the younger generation and do their stuff on there. That's how I saw Roddy Ricch before Live Life Fast dropped, but then he kind of disproved himself with Live Life Fast. I don't know what happened. I really want the dude to win. I want this to be a great album. So far, the singles are alright. We don't have a track list yet. If the track list drops until then, I'll be sure to keep you all updated. So if you want to stay up to date with Feed the Streets 3, make sure to stay subscribed and turn on notifications, because I'll be dropping any news, any new announcement we have right when they drop. So make sure to stay subscribed. But I want this to be great. I hope that, on the track list there are still more singles, not more singles, but maybe until then we get more singles that can kind of prove that he's pretty dope again. Maybe the singles that drop don't even make the album. That's also a possibility we got to take into consideration, because sometimes, singles drop and they only serve the purpose of hyping up the album, but then don't actually make it on the track list of the actual album. That's also a possibility. I don't want to, kind of get into that, but maybe that's another version he's going for, because the singles are not really great. And if the rest of the album is like the singles, it's another Live Life Fast, and I don't want this to happen. So I have all my hopes up for Roddy Ricch, Feed the Streets 3, dropping November 18th. Let me know what you think about this. Are you excited for this? Are you actually in good spirits about Roddy coming back with a new album, this is a legendary line for him. Feed the Streets 2. Feed the Streets 2 really propelled him into the mainstream, and now Feed the Streets 3. Let me know all your thoughts and theories on this in the comments down below.
If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and y'all take care.